Welcome to the Perspective Podcast. Josue here. As you guys probably already know, from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I attended the Oral Roberts University. At least that's what the diploma says anyways. I live in Texas. You know, the great chilly state of Texas is getting cold out here. We preach at times, but we're not really here to talk about that. And rightfully so, to my right, we have Mr. Chase Brown himself. He was born in Texas. He attended the University of North Texas. From what I hear, he's an aspiring philanthropic creative. And it is October 18th. I almost messed it up this time around. October 18th, and he still loves very long walks on the beach. With this episode, I feel like we might finally get our answer as to why that is. So, Chase, how you doing?
Doing good, man.
Yeah, really?
We'll dive into the subconscious like Inception and try to figure this out.
That's intense.
Bro.
Because how did that movie really end? You know?
We're all left wondering.
We are. Did it tilt or did it not tilt?
Yeah. Christopher Nolan, that man's a genius.
He is.
Goodness. I'm doing good though, man. Yeah. I have energy right now. I'm happy about it. I was not expecting this.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this.
You're not really known for your high energy, so.
That bad reputation precedes myself.
Yeah,
bro.
Bad.
But no, it's good, man. Yeah, excited for the rest of this week. Heading out to LA to be with Chaz and Montel and them for a couple days, and a whole bunch of friends. Wish you could be there.
Yeah,
but work and life and all that, it's okay. We'll have another one in the spring. We will be able to come out, make it that time.
We'll see.
It'll be good.
When they say TBD?
Stop this.
No
TBD. We have it on your schedule already.
Really?
It's going to happen.
My assistant got it on my schedule already, so we'll make it happen.
Bro. But yeah, how you been, man?
I'm good. I'm good, man. The days are going. I feel like this month is going by really fast.
Agreed.
I don't know if I'm just conscious of it, but I feel like the days are going by really fast in this month. So
yeah, it was funny though. Josiah today, and like this afternoon, he was like, we were talking about how things were going by super fast. Then he was like, yeah, man, because it's basically already the end of October. I'm like, you have 2 whole weeks in October left. It's 18.
What a guy.
I'm just like, how do you make that kind of leap?
What a guy, yeah.
Whatever. If he interrupts this podcast, we'll ask him. We can see.
Yeah, I thought he was outside, so I thought I saw his car coming when he left.
Hey, we can see. I
could be wrong. But so for today, we actually have something very interesting. Some might even say special. It's a special occasion. It's a 2-year anniversary of what? Of the Perspectives podcast. Yeah. It's been 2 years, a lot of episodes, a lot of travel, a lot of opportunities, a lot of moments. We've talked to a lot of different people. We tried to bring on a lot of various people. And so kind of just want to talk about some of our favorite moments during this past year. So it feels like an NBA season. 2020, 2021, right?
Exactly, bro.
Yeah, 2020, 2021.
Yeah,
so
the Bucks won that championship.
They did. The Bucks and who else won? Who won the Super Bowl?
The Bucks.
And the Bucks
and the Bucks.
Yeah, okay. That's crazy.
Jeez, yeah, I blocked that out. I didn't want Tom Brady winning another one.
Oh yeah, so that was kind of
sad moment for me as a Peyton Manning fan.
Yeah,
but nah, we're gonna be here to celebrate. Celebrate with this last year's mint.
Yeah, it's a celebration. I don't even know how to start this.
Well, how about this? To start this out, what do you think was the funniest moment of the podcast over the last year?
That's a tough question.
Because I have one that sticks out in my mind.
Funniest moment?
Yeah.
You want to go first? Because I got to think about this.
Okay. I don't think I will ever forget for the rest of my life whenever Alex Lee, while we were in LA, asked our dear friend, Mr. Chaz Smith, what flavor of lady
he was that was pretty intense.
Like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like we give him the opportunity, just like, hey bro, like you with us, you've been helping us out on this trip. You know, we had him on the podcast a few episodes before that. You know, we want you to come on and ask like 1 or 2 questions, something like that. And he comes out of left field with that question.
Yeah, that one was. I remember that question. I was like, "Wow, okay, I guess you got to answer it, right?"
Hey, to his credit, he did answer it.
He did.
So
He did. I'm kind of scrolling through. I mean, there were so many moments, but from some of the names that I see here, I feel like I laughed during the Ronaldo one.
well, yeah, with y'all's dry humor.
Yeah, that was the very, very dry humor. He said something that had me laughing. I can give you a shocking moment. The foggy one still is like very, very shocking to me.
That
until
shook the whole
presently.
country of Nigeria to its core.
Yeah, a lot of people message me like they don't know what he's talking about. I'm like, I don't know. I have no stake in the game. Is that what they say? I have no stake in the game.
Yeah.
I'm just reporting what happened. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. But yes, I do remember that moment with Alex because he was standing. Was it behind you, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was in the middle. Yeah, he stood behind you. He asked that question. I was like,
He went there.
yeah, he really did. That was kind of crazy.
Bro, yeah. And it's super funny because I think in the first year we had some funny moments. Like, we definitely did. But this year it's something that I think we grew in comfortability and like stepping a little bit more into. And I definitely think like whenever we had Mitch on, or excuse me, when we had Street Hymns on.
Oh yes, let's not use
Let's not to go that far. Yeah, like he just had like this personability element that really opened up like comedy to that.
Yeah.
And then from there, like we were able to kind of keep that going with a lot, and then I think we fully stepped into it with like Pat and Chaz to different degrees, and then from there, I really think, like the balance of like lessons and conversation and comedy kind of like stepped into that.
Yeah. I mean, because it adds another like aspect. Because we're not Discovery Channel. We're not here giving people just a bunch of information.
National Geographic.
Yeah, National Geographics. So it's good whenever you can add that element to it. And I feel like a lot of podcasts that I personally listen to is because, or even just like sports stuff or whatever it might be, I'll listen to Shannon Sharp because he has that comedic factor. I'll listen to Stephen A. Smith, him yelling at somebody and saying something crazy.
Yeah.
Because they bring different elements. So I think those things are appropriate. They help conversations go well. Especially some people, it's like while they're still kind of getting comfortable. If they know it's like it's a conversation where they can laugh and be themselves. I think that helps them kind of relax a lot more and kind of open up. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, because if it's just super serious, it can devolve into that interview. And I mean, it's something that like we've talked about a lot. We want this to be like a conversation rather than an interview. And so you're naturally going to have like jokes come in there. You're going to naturally have like little like inserts go in there, just people inserting like quick questions going off of like various thoughts that people have.
Yeah.
And things like that. And then from there, like just, I guess going off of that, like something that I think we formed over the last year that relates to jokes and comedy is, excuse me, guys, is your face.
I thought you said Jesus. I said what? You said Jesus.
Is just like the formation of inside jokes, where like I think we can look to a lot of our favorite podcasts and there's a lot of just like little inside jokes there that you really only know if you've kind of been through at least like a little bit of the journey with them.
Right.
And from there, like whether it's, walks on the beach, the infamous one at this point.
Yeah, she was like, does he really walk on the beach?
No, trust me, bro. I've got asked that so many times.
People really ask you that?
Bro, yes. Like literally, yes.
Wait, what did they say?
Like they're literally just like, oh, so when was the last time you went to a beach? Or like, oh, so how do you feel about like lakes or like pools or whatnot, and just all this kind of stuff.
What's crazy about this?
Goodness.
Like, I don't even think about it outside of here. So it's funny hearing that people actually ask him about this because, like, outside of us talking about it, like, it's not something that crosses my mind.
Yeah.
So for people to ask you, that's actually pretty funny. I guess we got to keep doing it.
It's. Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll just keep going with it. I mean, I think we established a good intro over the last year and a half.
Yeah.
That you're able to go after and like, I mean, obviously you could change it up.
I don't even know when that came in though. That's the question,
bro.
I think somebody do research and find out when that came in.
Yeah. I think it was like middle of the quarantine episodes. Because if I remember right, we listened to a podcast by Joseph Solomon, and he has his intro down the same every time. And I was like, yo, with like us having a little bit more of like a like dynamic, changing conversation type format, I was like, I think this one part of like structure and regularity will be able to help in terms of having like the same intro every time.
Yeah, but I'm talking about specifically the walks on the beach part. Like, I don't remember the first time I said that.
Good point.
Yeah, I was like, when did I say that?
We'll do some research and get back to you.
Yeah, we'll get our research.
Well, no, what we'll do, we'll put that in the in episode 100. We'll do that. Yeah, we got something special coming up, y'all, for episode 100. Yeah. Especially for y'all new listeners who haven't been around for, more than the past like 6 months or so. We'll be able to have some things in there that will be new moments to y'all. So it'll be good.
Episode 100. I remember the first time we recorded, we were in the room. It was me, you, and Grayson. We were in the room. We didn't have any mics, right?
Nah.
We had to speak into
laptop.
a laptop, so we kind of had to get close to the laptop. And so we're all like this, trying to talk, and we're trying to, throw the conversations to different people. So it's like, hey, so what do you think about this? And we all awkwardly just stared.
Awkward as heck.
Hoping that the person has the right answer. And now we're here on the couch chilling with mics.
At the Perspectives Townhome.
The Perspectives Townhome.
And I guess that's another thing over the last year is having the townhome.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
January.
Being able to like have a space to be able to record and have video and all that kind of stuff. It's like, hey, look at Josiah. Let's go.
Did he make it?
Yeah.
This guy's always on the phone. Like, he's never not on the phone.
This boy.
Yeah, he can come in.
He doesn't even know we're talking about him right now either. So whatever. We'll let him finish his conversation. But yeah, man, being able to have the house, have a place to record that's like on brand with us, I think is super helpful and like super dope. So, all right, Josiah, we need you to come here for a minute. Drop your protein and groceries.
They always hear about you. I don't think they know what you look like.
Hey. Bro, you don't got a mic. You got to come over here. Man, we only got a couple more months with this kid.
I know.
Then he's going to leave
Where's
us.
he going?
You can put the groceries on the ground. Come sit down for a sec. Yeah. So, introduce yourself, and we had one question that we wanted to ask you.
What's up, guys? My name is Josiah Caleb, born 1998, Gen Z, elder.
Gen Z elder?
I'm an elder of Gen Z because Gen Z is technically 1995 through 2010, or debatably 1997 era. So either way, I'm a Gen Z elder.
Okay.
So I was raised with millennials, so I have something to say to the Gen Z generation as an elder, but still young enough and old enough. I'm like in this bridge.
That was in your
Huh? So I'm just kidding, but
very self-aware.
You're in the middle of a podcast?
Yeah.
Legends.
This is our 2-year
celebration
of 2 years.
Oh.
We were just talking about you. So
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, for those of y'all who don't know, he's been our roommate for the last 10 months. Then he's going to be leaving us to go to Orlando in a couple months.
Hey.
But we're super excited for him. So, the question of the hour for Josiah Caleb Salcido.
Yep.
Brother of Destiny Salcido.
It's my little sister. Yep.
Is what has been the best part of living at the house over the last year. And from there, if there's anything that's related to the podcast that you want to share.
Yeah. Okay.
Do that, whether it's our nonsense or whether it's something that is good or funny, whatever you want to do.
I'm going to say, so I think right off, I'm going to say generosity. So I would say this is like, I think you can learn from someone, you can learn things from everyone. So I think like this house has been a blessing for me personally because of geographically how much I had to drive to serve in my church. So I'm a part of Mercy Culture Church for 3 years now. And so I grew up in the east part of Dallas. So an hour away from the church. And so I was living in Dallas for Bible school, et cetera. So basically my drive to Mercy Culture was a lot. And I have a lot of responsibility.
Hours,
bro. An hour with no traffic, an hour and 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of Dallas traffic. That could be an hour and 20.
It's different, bro.
So it was God, bro. I would literally try to move to Dallas, to Fort Worth, several times I could never afford it by myself. And the generosity, like, honestly, I'm super grateful. Like, Chase, we were just getting coffee one time. It was so random. I was just like, it was so random. We were just getting coffee as friends, and I was like, yeah, bro, I mean, I'm looking for a place in Fort Worth. And Chase never told me nothing. He was looking for a house. And out of the blue, to driving from Mercy Culture to, like, home for an hour for 3 years, just a DFW commute, Chase is like, hey, bro, I'm buying a house. There's a room if you want to rent it. And that, like, shifted, like, my next season of being able to be serving at my church. Anytime, like, any of my pastors need something, I'm 12 minutes away. And, like, tomorrow morning I got to be at the school at 7 a.m. That, like, back living in my parents' house, my morning would have started off, like, at 4:30 just to get there. When I can wake up, like, at 6:30 here if I need to. I should pray before that. But 6:30 and then, like, 15 minutes to get to the church. So the generosity, like, I think I learned from Chase he's very generous to his friends of just even, like, this house. I've seen other people come in that have needed, like, a place to live financially, just being able to, like, afford living here, and it's a beautiful brand new house. So I'm grateful. Like, so blessing of generosity is, like, my biggest take. It's fun seeing Josue's humor. I like hearing him. Josue prays in the morning, prays in tongues. I love it. When I first heard it, I paused. I was like, yes, love this. I was like, there's someone here praising the Holy Ghost. I'm from a Holy Ghost church. So, yeah, bro, those are, like, I'm super grateful. I'll say it when I leave, but, like, it's been a huge blessing. And, like, I'm still able to get to Dallas because I still go to school at DBU. So I still get to Dallas easily, even to work, and even, like, I like hanging out, like, in South Lake, so South Lake's not even far. Like, this is literally the ideal location. I brag on it so much. Literally, I played golf this morning with a friend, and I was like, bro, honestly, like, location. Like, we got a Chick-fil-A, we got a Cane's, we got a Chipotle, we got a Whataburger there on the street, we got a Walmart if we ever need it, we got a Home Depot if we ever need home improvement, we got all within, like, 2 minutes.
Literally.
And so it's just been a blessing, bro. Thank you, Chase. If you guys don't know, like, Chase has a big heart for generosity. No one that has not come in this house has, like, not been blessed in the generosity of, like, this house. Like, people come in here and, like, I literally ate food this morning from Chase's overflow his birthday because of the generosity of, like, just his parents. And, like, that's something that this house is just, I've learned a lot of key generosity. And, like, you know, sometimes you're always trying to budget and stuff, and then the Lord reminds you, like, I'm a God of overflow. I'm generous. Like, the kingdom of God is generous. And that's a value at Mercy Culture too, which our pastors always push on us. And here's just a standard. Like, generosity is a standard in here. So, yeah, totally not ready for these questions, but that's it, bro. I will take from this lesson of life, being generous. Like, if I have the opportunity to have my own house, hopefully I'm married, but if, like, somehow, like, I don't know. I mean, I would love to be married, but if, like, the Lord tarries that I'm still single and I have the ability to buy my first house, like, I want to be a blessing to other young men that are still serving in the church and, like, provide a room for them to be there. You know, like, this is right now. This has been a blessing this whole time.
Yeah. No, this is good. This is good. I didn't know if you were going to be able to handle being on camera and stuff like
man.
that.
Yeah. So I'm actually, if y'all just want to know, I'm starting a YouTube channel.
Oh.
Ooh, no. I might be starting one called Joyful Josiah. There's a quote about the joy of God. Like, bro, joy, this is a quote Pastor Russell Johnson said at Mercy Culture Church last Sunday. He is a legend. Let me tell you, bro, he can preach. So this is a quote he said that got me. It is so good because we all need to hear this. He said, title Spiritual Development, Mercy Culture Church, where the vision. I'm just kidding. Okay. So he said, operating in joy is doing violence in the spirit of the age. The spirit of the age, as in, like, the world system, the system of the world wants you to be depressed. Like, it wants you to not have hope, to not believe in the joy of the Lord as your strength. Like, the climate of this culture, the enemy, like the what do you call the prince of the air? Like, this is the enemy's kingdom. Like, he wants us to be depressed and have anxiety. And if you can be, like, a Christian living in the joy of the Lord as your strength, powerful. Like, literally, he said, operating in joy is doing violence in the spirit of the age. So with all this craziness of the world, the COVID shifted a lot, and however crazy it gets, however, I don't know your beliefs on that, but, like, the more that you can hold on to joy, and, like, your finances will be there. The more that you hold on to joy, your relationships will be there. And this is just something like that God has been on me, like the fruits of the Spirit. Like I feel like I've been a happy person, but the Lord's been like pushing me, like, can you be joyful? And just operating in joy is doing violence, because the enemy does not want you to have joy, because he can steal it. And like that was so good. Where does came? What was the conversation? Even this question.
That's a good question.
I don't know. I said that. I just was telling someone on the phone earlier.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, we have to have joy, because wherever
Romans 14:17.
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you knew it.
Oh no, I don't know. This was. I'm sorry, bro. Not the theologian.
No, you're doing great.
Way.
The kingdom of God is not eating or drinking, but righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost.
Righteousness, joy, peace, and the whole. Don't you want to?
There's a song about
It's
that?
an old song from the 90s.
Oh, I didn't know there was a
Righteousness, peace, joy,
Most
in the
definitely.
Holy Ghost. But yeah, I don't even know what this conversation was, but if you can learn that, like, it's powerful, because the way, however your beliefs are, the way the world is going to be with, you can lose your job or not, operating in joy is doing violence in the spirit of the age. And that has like been super key. Yeah. Thanks for guys.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. This is like, it just jumped on. I just want to let you know, I just came from Target.
Yeah.
And I was coming in with Target bags in my hands.
Go see the video.
Oh, y'all see the video? Oh,
You're on camera.
oh, this is why, the YouTube channel. I felt like as my move, this is what it all comes together. I'm moving, and I was asking the Lord, what do you want me to do as a young man? And I felt like he said, document this of like the move. Honestly, I look up to one of our pastors, Pastor Jasmine Jana. And like, she serves as a pastor, but she has like her own lane of like influence and like her creative stuff. And the Lord's been on me. He's like, you need to have like a place for young kids, because I work with a lot of youth, to like, they just forget they can operate in joy. Even just going to Chick-fil-A and like ordering a number 2 deluxe of Arnold Palmer and 2 ranch, 2 Chick-fil-A and 1 Polynesian sauce. Like,
Wow.
that's just, you can operate in joy in everying.
No Chick-fil-A sauce.
No, it's a number 2 deluxe of Arnold Palmer, 2 ranch, 2 Chick-fil-A, 1 Polynesian sauce. That's my order. But like, I felt like the Lord said to document it. And like G14 is a whole nother conversation, but I felt like the Lord said have like an individual like YouTube channel. So I've been like trying to prepare it. It's going to be called Joyful Josiah, airing in 2022. We'll see how it goes, bro. If that's in the capacity with being at a new church and everything. So
We'll wait for that to drop.
yeah,
You know.
we got to give it to the Lord every time. Say, Lord, everything is yours. But thanks. All right, been talking a lot. Peace, guys. Love you.
Nah, appreciate you, bro.
That was good.
Nah. Yeah.
Everybody give a hand to Josiah.
Nah, yeah, we thought it was fit. It's funny how timing worked out, because I thought it'd be fit to do that. Legit, you can just put those up. You can. But
He's going to be in the background.
this is what it's
doing
like to
stuff.
live with us three. There's a lot of people around all the time.
There is. So Chase always has a lot of parties. So there's always a number of people here. It's like, Chase, you got to chill. Like, people want to sleep.
Yeah.
But, he always has people over, and they're playing
Yeah.
games and watching movies.
I just have
things
all
like
the
that.
energy in the world that I need to use up on people.
It's crazy. I'm like, Chase, bro, come
Yeah.
on, man. Like, we want to go to sleep. Josiah and I, like, really want to sleep.
Yeah.
So we can get up early and pray.
No. Josiah wants to sleep. Luckily, Josue is always available to stay up till 5:30 in the morning. So
I'm usually studying. I'm usually studying and preparing myself for the podcast, just so I can be ready.
Yeah.
For
Goodness.
all of our podcasts.
You're ridiculous. But nah, yeah, we thought it was fit to have him on, with him living with us pretty much for the past year.
Yeah.
And so it was symbolic for that. But no, so going from there, yeah, what has been some of the you think the lessons that you've learned over the last year from doing the podcast, whether it's things that certain people talked about or ways that we do the podcast and learning how to do it better, or things that the podcast kind of intersected with
All right, so
other areas of life.
what I'm doing is I'm scrolling through the podcast and seeing some of the things that stands out, not from each one, but from some of the ones. So I'm seeing here there's leadership conversations. I'm seeing here there's more leadership conversation. I'm seeing conversation about influence. I'm seeing conversation about being a community leader, cultural conversations. I'm seeing, just more of that. I'm seeing, let's see, I'm scrolling really fast. Creativity, more creativity, more creativity, more creativity. Let's see, Axel. That's just a blend of all of those things. Entrepreneurship. I'm seeing God working with people in the UFC. I'm seeing being a student pastor. I'm seeing going on mission trips, seeing being a young adults pastor. So there's a lot of different things. So over the year, as you listen to the various podcasts, there's a lot of things to be able to take away. Those are just some of the things that I saw from just basically scrolling. If you were to intentionally listen to each and every single one, there's a lot of different takeaways from it. So for me personally, a variety of learning about leadership, learning about creativity. There was like a long stand of creatives that we had there. Learning about different cultures, learning about starting new business. Shout out to Yvonne and the organization Honeycomb.
Yep.
So there was just a lot, to take away from each and every single conversation. I feel like you guys have heard us talk about how there's always key takeaways towards the end. We're able to take a lot of different things from those that we bring on. So what about you?
Yeah. I had this in a different category, but I'll definitely say it here since you brought it up. But I think the Lord definitely solidified a lot of things in us regarding creativity and growing us in that area. Both in terms of our see you later, Josiah. Both in terms of our gifts and also our network of friends who are creative. And it's something where I don't think, which we talked about this with our episode with Lonnie, but I don't think I would have called myself a creative a couple years ago, and I'm still, especially a year ago, I still probably wouldn't have said it. I think it was just I was friends with a bunch of creatives, but I don't know if I identified myself as one, more so like a business person. But in that, there's a lot of things that we've been able to learn regarding creativity through these conversations. And especially, I think, shout out to Axel in that, because they've set such a good foundation for me and us in that, just because of how wise they are and how the Holy Spirit's been able to speak through them in that. And it's special. And I think that we've been able to really grow in a balance in it. And especially with, continued over the last year, missions not really being able to be much of a thing, which was the thing that was kind of one of the things that was at the core of our heart when we started the podcast. Has been something where God's really been able to highlight that to us. And I think through that, there's going to be some interconnectivity there that he's going to be able to bring in some exchange there. It's going to be interesting. A couple of things for me that stood out over the last year, which actually it's funny, relates to this, as I think we've learned in a more concrete way, we have the ability to pivot. And I for some reason, that wasn't really a word that was in my vocabulary very much until the last couple months, where I was no, we were just kind of I would have called it going with the flow and following the Holy Spirit, but at the same time, it is a strategic pivot in a way to where, okay, if we can't really travel, okay, what else is the Lord leading us to, and what else can actually make sense and actually relate to this in a way. And I think that applies to not just the podcast, but the organization as a whole as well. Whereas, we were hoping to be able to do our own independent mission trips by end of this year, beginning of next year. But it's something where, okay, taking a group international doesn't really look like that's possible right now. And so from there, really getting involved in Fort Worth, in Houston, Austin, LA, Atlanta, and really planting roots down deep there, and being able to do that, and being able to see it's, even though we're pivoting and doing things a little bit different, things have kind of evolved over the last couple of years, it's still really in alignment with what God's called us to do, and the mission and everything that he's kind of given us. And going off of that, because I think a natural question that I had and that like listeners could have as well is like, okay, like how do you know that this is in alignment with where God started you like at first? And I think the main thing for me that God's really used to make sure we were on like the path of obedience and everything is giving us like that principle of balance, of which I realized it in LA, and we kind of talked about it out there, both as a group and I think on the podcast at one point. But it was something where God really gave us saying like, hey, as much time as you spend creating, spend as much time serving. As much time as you spend international, spend as much time domestic. And in the podcast, like as much as you have like these young leaders on, also have like people that are in your life and friends and stuff like that to be able to have that balance and make sure that the intentions are correct there.
Yeah, I mean, even to that point, if you think about what is something that a word that you guys have probably heard us bring up different times is kingdom, right? You know, Reward said kingdom 50 billion times. Kingdom, what does that look like? In the United States, people have jobs all over, different industries, different sects. All those different things are all jobs that people within the United States do. So in the kingdom of the United States, you could be a doctor, you could be a dancer, you could be, heck, nowadays you could be a YouTube vlogger, whatever, right? All of these different things are things that people do within the kingdom. And in doing that, they're on mission with the goal of the United States, you know, make money and all the other stuff, you know, life, pursuit of happiness, whatever. And so if the Lord, if we are to focus on missions in a sense, right? And not only having a mission that's external in the sense of outside of the States, you know, we have to be able to be focused as well as on here in the States as well. And what better way to be focused in the States as well than to talk to people that are on mission in various parts of society.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why we're able to have conversations with creatives, to social workers, to battle rappers, to pastors, to worshipers, to UFC fighters, to young adults pastors, to business owners, to various people. Why? Because we're all part of the kingdom of God. And in the kingdom of God, we all, what do they call it? Is it the 7 pillars of society or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
It's an expression that pretty much speaks to, we have to be able to influence the business sect, the arts, and all these, I forgot what the other pillars are, but because believers are in these different parts of society, you know, to be on mission, you have to speak to these different parts of society so you can see what God is doing in these various parts, you know. So to me, that's kind of how I rationalize being able to stay on mission, being able to stay on brand, as people might want to say. But yeah, being able to stay on mission, because at the end of the day, what we're doing is to glorify God. And what better way to know about that and to speak to people that are doing things that are bringing glory to God in various parts of society. So
yeah, and it's been super organic because we knew this, but again, I think it's just something that we realized even more is just like how interesting of friends we have. And I mean, just how interesting like humans are in general, but especially I think like our friend group, because they are like all over the place.
Yeah.
There's engineers, there's caretakers, there's social media related people, there's artists, there's finance people, there's philanthropists, all over the place, leaders, writers, whatever. And so it's I think a lot of people, I think the only reason why they're not enthralled and interested in their friends is because they don't have those genuine conversations with them, where they aren't genuinely curious enough to find out the things that are interesting about the people, either in what they're doing right now or in everything in the dirty that's led up to that. Because especially people's stories are crazy.
yeah,
And there's a lot of detail and nuance that's gone into a lot of it, where it's not blueprint. It's not. It doesn't follow some just path.
Yeah, I mean, and even if you think about, even whenever we were speaking a lot to people that went on a lot of mission trips, there was a lot of variety in the different kind of mission trips people were going to countries and what the Lord did there, and so it's like, okay, if we scale back to people that are on mission, because at the end of the day, we're all ambassadors, right? We're ambassadors in our field of influence, and it's like, okay, what is God doing in your sphere of influence where you, as a believer, you're an ambassador working for Google or whatever? Like, what is God doing there? And I think that's kind of been some of our focus in conversations.
Yeah.
And it has really opened a lot of doors to be able to speak to anybody. Be able to speak to the body of Christ. And the awesome thing about that is, like, we've probably had a lot of, I mean, I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts, but I'm sorry if you have a podcast. But, we've had a lot of various conversations. It's not the same topics. Even when we do the same theme, you get different things from it because you learn that families are different and people grew up differently. So I've loved that. That's been like a unique aspect where you could line up how many have we done? 10 plus cultural conversations?
Yeah, at least.
Every single one are different.
Yeah.
There's certain things that are similar, but the majority of them are all different. And I think that's like a cool thing, to be able to hear those things.
And even something in that, like, I think in the ones that we did during the first year with like Peniel and Jordan, Stephania, a lot of those at that time, if I remember right, we kept just the scope of that conversation to the cultural stuff. Whereas a lot of times over this second year, it's just been one of those things that we've ingrained into a larger conversation. For example, with Paul, where we talked about like a lot about the world race and then entrepreneurship and everything that he's doing. And then relationship with his engagement with Caroline, and then got into the Filipino culture.
Right.
And so it's just something where like, I think there's a lot of things that we were just able to integrate and just pair really well with one another. Like just speaking to that, just saying that, like not every single conversation about culture was the same.
Right.
Because there's a lot of other areas in the people's lives that are different. Yet we wouldn't know that if we weren't genuinely curious about their life and everything that goes into that. I think two other quick lessons that I'll mention that are a little bit more like podcast technical related that you can comment on if you want. I think one of the things that we've continued to do well this year that we figured out, I think a little bit at the end of last year, is I think it's super beneficial to the conversation to not just do like a big giant info dump for the person at the start. To where like, hey, like tell us your story, tell us all this. Like a lot of podcasts start that way. But it's something where I think it's almost lazy to do that. And especially like within the context of like movie making, it's really, really lazy to have a big info dump at the start. And so seeing the podcast as like a movie in a way, I think it's a lot more engaging to get right into it with the person. And from there, like let them gradually reveal their character, their journey, and all of that. And then from there, just more organic questions come up to us. Because it's something that I'm sure is like, as who would be a good example? Chaz with, talking about apathy and like that kind of being the launching off point for that conversation. From there, he was really able to articulate a lot of things about like, well, this is where I was at, in college. And so this is how I even got into this spot. And then so from there, then that's kind of the context for like all this apathy stuff. And then we're able to jump off, like kind of go around, but it's not scatterbrained in a way. It's something where it's super organic. Whereas in a conversation, a lot of times you just kind of ask someone like, hey, like, what do you do? Whatever. And it's like, oh, how did you get into that? And then like, they're able to reveal some of their characters. Like, oh, like, well, then where did you grow up? Instead of just like the basic questions at the start.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it reminds me of a word called headlining.
Yeah.
In terms of like some structure for the podcast in the sense of like, we're bringing you this person, you guys might not even know who they are, you know. So if we headline it correctly in the beginning, it kind of throughout the podcast, they're trying to figure out, okay, who is this person?
Yeah.
Why are they on here? And hopefully that's kind of what the podcast does. It brings us through this journey of like trying to figure out, obviously you're not going to get to know the whole person in an hour or so, but hopefully what they are able to share, you know, it kind of opens up into their world. You know, till 2 years in, you know, I'm still learning things about people I never knew.
Yeah.
You know, and if that's true about our friends, and you know, some of our you know listeners might not know some of the people that we bring on, and so you guys are also able to come along that journey, along that process, to be able to get to know people. Like you were saying, it's kind of like that movie. You know, it's like you can't know who the bad guy is just in the first 5 minutes and his evil plans and all that stuff. You gotta let it build so it paints a better picture. So hopefully as the podcasts are going on, we're able to continue to paint better picture into who the person is, what God is doing in their life, and just perspectives, right? I mean, even I'm thinking about the word, because I love when people just unintentionally use it on the podcast, you know, because I don't think they're trying to be funny or anything. But I usually like pick up on it when people use it. It's like, yeah, it's like perspectives, right? But they're just going, but like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point of the podcast. But yeah,
man. And I think kind of to that point, but going on one of the things that I wrote down, which I think I learned this from the Axel podcast, is I think it's better whenever like one or both of us come in to the conversation with like topics that are based off of previous conversations to have people elaborate. And so from there, like with Axel, for example, when I was like, hey, like Jasmine talked about this in a lesson with like the Ruach of God and inspiration and intimacy with the Lord and being able to create from that kind of space. So like you want to elaborate any more on that. And from there, like there's things that they're able to jump off on. And then the same with Joel. And I was like, yo, like whenever, you know, we caught up during COVID, you were like, nah, man, I want to get like a lot more serious for the gospel and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, man, like while you were talking about that in that conversation, I was kind of like, man, like I hope we didn't taint your commitment to the gospel whenever you moved over to America and us being like in an affluent area and all this kind of stuff. And so that's something that I think has been really beneficial because I mean, there's a lot of things within like conversations with friends where it's just like, hey, they said this last time. I kind of want, like, I want to follow up on that and things like that. And so kind of going towards that, I think we're just continuing to figure out our flow and everything better. And like how to not have it really be like an interview and so structured and so premeditated and still have that, you know, improvisation and everything like that, but at the same time not just come in where we're unprepared and like not honoring the guest and their time with things that are going to be like genuinely engaging for the audience. So
yeah, and I think even just to that, you know, I want to give a shout out to everybody that's helped us out, you know, over the year. You know, we have Thomas here, Grayson, Alex, Unessa in her
and Joseph.
Can't
leave that boy Joseph out.
You know, we want to give them a shout out because I'm not, when it comes to all that stuff that they do, especially the ones that do videography, you know, it's, man, if it was up to me, we would have been recording on my phone. But
so let's do this real quick. Thomas, come on. Yeah, come on.
You guys got to see the man.
We just have the wide angle.
Scene.
We good.
Yeah.
So you can see the man behind the camera who's been behind the camera for the Atlanta trip and almost all of them that we recorded here at the house. So for you, what's it been like for you? It's probably been 4 months that you've been a part of it now, something.
Yeah, it's been a while. It feels like it's been a lot longer than 4 months, like in a good way. Because I'll let you finish your question.
No, so basically, so you've been here for a little bit. So just, how have you grown from kind of being involved in it? And I know you're kind of quiet, so if you want to speak up, you can.
Yeah, I mean,
it's okay. It's like your wife isn't here to beat you upside the head.
No, yeah. I mean, I actually have done podcasting myself, but I mean, in terms of growth that I've experienced in this process of helping you guys, It's been tremendous. And when I look back on like when we first started, or when I first did the podcast here, it was like I was so excited for what the Lord had put on my plate with you guys to do. Trust me, I've done a lot of prayer when it comes to helping you guys with this, because I see a lot of I've seen a lot of growth within this podcast, and I see so much more in the future with what you've discussed with me, what we've talked about as well. And like just the trip to Atlanta, like that whole trip kind of summarized my hopes for, what I would have expected in helping you guys with this. Like that was an amazing trip. We did 4 podcasts. It was low key a marathon, but all of them went super well. It was, an honor to meet all the people that we met. Each one was super unique. I learned something specific from each podcast. And as I get to like go through and edit them, I'm like, wow, I didn't even like realize that when I was sitting there in person, listening to it. So, I mean, that aspect in it alone of being able to like go through and edit, I personally enjoy, because I get a lot out of it from that side. But I mean, it's just been a lot of fun, and I'm excited for whatever else is there in the future, and all that God has to deliver to you guys, and this podcast specifically, because it is spirit led. That's like the best way I can describe it, is this is very spirit led, and yeah, a lot of excitement for it.
Yeah, and yeah, we appreciate you, man. Because you put a lot of time into it, and you're always behind the camera. We wish you could be in front of the camera with us all the time. We need to figure out like a little like pulley kind of thing where he can like move the camera while still being with us. Yeah,
I can just hire an assistant for that.
True. We can figure that out. But really appreciate you, man. You and your wife for being able to loan us you for an hour to 2 hours at a time.
That's another area of growth. When you're in this season of life, you have to bargain, I guess is almost the best word, bargain with time, because that's the most valuable asset is time. So, but I mean, we've worked things out, and that's another thing is I've prayed with her about this, and anything I take on, it's always a lot of thought put into it.
Yeah.
But so much value is gained from doing this. So thank you guys for giving me the opportunity. Sure. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, bro. Dope. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like people that make everything a lot easier, a lot simpler for us, like Thomas, and so we greatly appreciate it, because I feel like it adds just another. Even like the short clips that he takes, like those things always come out so crispy. The Instagram, huh? That's all Chase. No. I'm talking about the stories. Yeah. Those things always come like super nice, like professional.
No, we need to figure out how to get the quality of those reels up, low key, in terms of actual video quality.
Yeah, like it changes, right?
Bro, they compress it, and I'm just like,
it does. Yeah,
I don't feel like you do this for Kim Kardashian. So why are you doing this for us?
They're just saying we're not there yet, but we're on our way, Kim.
Nah. Yeah. So I'll share a couple other things that are like, and this will be able to kind of give you opportunity to think about it. These are like, I categorize these as like realizations, where I think it's things that were already present, but that have become a little bit more realized over the last year. So a little bit different than lessons. But for me, I think, again, like I think those of y'all who've been listening over the last year have kind of seen creativity has been a big part of it. We've already talked about it on this podcast, but I think specifically just the favor that God's kind of brought in that, where it's something that we never really intentioned to be friends with the people that we're friends with. It's something that, some of them we didn't even know before we met them. Others were like, oh, they were cool. But from there, we're just kind of like, oh, just podcast or just meet them and whatever. But God's kind of had that be the case where there's just like this reciprocation of being able to have them pour in our lives, us pour into their lives. and being able and favor from the sense of like not like the favor of those friends, but the favor of God in those situations, where it's something where there's able to be this mutual growing there that I mentioned, that's able to be for the benefit of his kingdom rather than the benefit of like our network or connections and all that nonsense. And I think going with that is just being able to just continue to push us towards our goal of unity, where a prerequisite to unity is obviously network. And so us continuing to grow in friendship with people, grow in the people that we're acquaintances with or friendly with. The podcast is a good way to do that. But it's something that, like at first I didn't really see this being a catalyst or like a powerful tool that God could use for unity to be able to bring people together. But it's something that's just like, like this is super cool, especially unity amongst creatives. Because like we've talked a good amount about some of my thoughts like behind how the creative sphere could like potentially grow within Christian, like the Christian industry. So
something that, what was the word you used?
Unity, Christian sphere, network.
No, you were talking
favor.
about. I was going. No, not the favor. That's a good one. Not all of that was fall under what category?
Oh, realizations.
Yeah. I think you guys have probably heard me say this enough, but I don't. So in my mind, I don't know or understand the scope of like what we've done the last 2 years because I just don't think about it much, And so whenever people come up to me and they'll bring up something, I'm like, oh, you listen, So it's always a shock, not because I'm trying to. But it's just because, like you said, it's favor that God has allowed people to listen to, And we have friends that listen to everything, And I just want to give a shout out to Tiffany whenever she hears this. And Tiffany and I have kind of been talking a little bit about the various ones. And also, hey, we have this one coming out, And she was talking about one of the ones that we did.
At Chi-Chi's engagement party when she was talking about that?
No, recently. We did one. It was you and I. We were talking, we were talking anyways. So we were talking about that. And it's
unity? Shallow unity.
It might have been,
versus true
it was
unity?
that one. Yeah. And she was just giving some thoughts and feedback towards that. And I think one thing that like stands out to me in a sense is, God gives, he gives favor, he gives grace for things. And I think maybe in a sense, like maybe my eyes have kind of just been closed to like everything that he's doing in regards to, the audience that the Lord has been able to bless us with. But just because there are people that listen, there are people that give feedback and, have been enjoying what we've been sharing. It makes you more, it kind of puts like that drive there, to be able to continue to put out excellent conversations, excellent material, things that people want to enjoy. I think that was a big realization, where it's like, no, people like, because one of the things that we talked about from a long time ago, people want to see consistency.
Yeah.
And because of that, people have been, listening and stuff. And so it's that realization of like, man, we talked about this about however many years ago and we're actually doing it, like when something actually materializes in the way that you have planned for it to, it's just like, man, that's big. Because it's easy to talk about something. Because I remember when we were sitting at Torchy's, and I was like, man, what is this guy talking about? He's just talking in my ear. I was just like, come on, man, like what's going on? And then we got here, and I was like, oh, we got here. But at the same time, it was all. It felt kind of like, you ever rode a bike down a hill? You don't even have to pedal, and you just. the momentum is taking you down. It's felt more so like that versus us trying to go up a hill or something like that. There's been favor and grace that's just allowed us to go this way and just kind of go with that analogy. You guys understand the analogy,
bro.
versus it being us trying to climb up.
I really
something,
like that analogy.
You know,
Really like that. I hadn't heard of that before.
of course, I come up with the best analogies. What do you mean?
True.
Yeah.
Getting to that, I think second to last thing we can kind of talk about in terms of categories is just like things over this next year that we want to implement, continue to grow in, and everything like that. And I have one for you. It's been said directly to you.
What is that?
So this won't come as a surprise, but I think our audience will appreciate it. Is our boy Chad Smith says you need to be funnier on the podcast because you funny in real life and it needs to come out in the podcast.
Yeah, it's an interesting balance, I guess. Because I'm a very like dramatic person. Dramatic.
Really?
Yeah, everybody knows. I'm very dramatic. So on the podcast, I try to dial it back because I try to almost kind of in a sense be professional and make sure I'm asking good questions. I'm asking them correctly where everybody can understand and enunciate words and all that. And so because of that, I think I downplay or I push down my that sarcastic nature that just pops up like nobody's business. I suppress it in a sense for the sake of like conversations.
You understand the symbolism behind the paper airplane on the podcast, right? On the
I
art.
need you to explain that to me.
So this will be a little inside knowledge for y'all and the audience as well. So what the paper airplane means is, we're in the boardroom, we're in the classroom, we're here to learn, we're here to grow. But at the same time, we can shape that a little bit to have some fun. We can throw some paper airplanes in the meeting room. We can throw some paper airplanes in the classroom.
Yeah.
And so the brand, is to be a little bit informal from time to time, not be so professional.
Yeah, so professional from the standpoint of like, one thing you guys probably don't know about me, it might come as a surprise to some. I always, growing up, I didn't think I could communicate very well.
Yeah.
And so whenever the whole podcast idea came up, I was like, I'm not a good communicator. And even when it comes to like preaching, it's one of those things that I had to get out of my mind. Like, I'm not a good communicator. What do they call those? Yeah. And that's something that I tried to
He said orator for those who didn't hear.
Yeah, orator. Yeah. That's something I try to work on. And this actually gives me that platform to do it. Surprisingly, I feel like I've gotten better at communicating because here I'm able to communicate without a bunch of ums.
Very much so.
Just having a conversation. And so whenever I'm preaching, I've seen it translate very well to where
That was natural though. That was natural.
That was so bad. But yeah, to where I'm able to communicate better. So now it's just like, how do I incorporate everything, more personality into? But I mean, year number 2, we're like babies crawling, man.
Exactly. And it's something that I think we talked about in the year 1 celebration. That one of the guys that I listen to a lot for sports in terms of podcasts is Bill Simmons. He talked about when he started doing podcasting in like 08, 09, 10, whatever. It took him like 200 episodes to get in the groove.
Yeah.
For him to actually feel comfortable, which is crazy because that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so from there, it's like in the grand scheme of things, when you got Joe Rogan doing, I think he's like at 1,700 episodes, like over 1,700 episodes. Bill Simmons doing podcasting for 15 years. Like in the grand scheme of things, like we still have a lot of time to be able to get to the point where we're maximally developed and able to reach the potential that God's put inside of us. And I think that we'll be able to do that. I think there's definitely longevity to it with the unique way that the podcast is under Perspectives, the nonprofit, and it not just being something that has to stand alone on its own, but that it has a solid foundation underneath it. And from there, it's able to lean on that, and Perspectives is able to lean on the podcast too.
Yeah, I mean, even to that point, when we were in, I almost said Atlanta, when we were in LA, I think that was the first time we recorded with Pat?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was the first video as
First
well.
video. Yeah. So I meant video, not recording. With that being the first video, like my mind just blanked out for a second. And so it was like, there's, I've come a long way, we've come a long way, I would say, from that, in terms of just like being natural in front of a camera. Because a lot of times, like, I forget it's there unless I look at it, to where it's just like, just having conversation, just hanging out. But yeah, I mean, those are things that you develop, through the episodes, through time and repetition and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
It's definitely something that, you see growth in, I want you guys to do something. Look at the cameras. Go and find our very first episode and listen to it. Just listen to like 10 minutes and then stop. You don't have to listen to the whole thing. Just listen to 10 minutes, stop, and then let us know what you see as being different.
Yeah.
You'll see what we're talking about even more. Just go listen 10 minutes and then come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a funny exercise. I like that. I think the only other thing that I'll bring up in terms of over this next year, I think things that we've added over the last year for video for sure has been great. It's a ton of fun. It's been interesting. We brought this up before, but it's interesting to have audiences carry over from one platform to another. And so YouTube still only makes up for 4%, 5% of the total streams that we're getting. And so it's super interesting, but people listen. They can just digest this however they want if God's having them grow from it. But saying that, I definitely want to keep doing the video. I think we're going to continue to learn the rhythm for what that looks like in terms of, trips for the podcast that we take and recording here. If we want to fly people out here rather than the whole team flying out somewhere. But at the same time, I still love changing up like the scenes and the venue and all of that every now and then. I think that's cool. And so we'll be able to just kind of figure that out over the next year and just kind of what that looks like. And especially as some of the other projects, which I'll go ahead and get that out of the way since I mentioned the podcast, since I mentioned the projects. We've been mentioning that for like 2 years now, pretty much. And so we're hoping that the announcement for that project will be able to happen within the next 2 months. And there's still a lot of branding that needs to get done, and then promotional content, and then making sure that the project is going to be done by the actual deadline that we want it to. But hopefully that can happen in the next couple months. And we're super excited. And that will, I think, continue to launch things to another level, and especially with the podcast. Because something that I think I've learned as I've looked at other podcasts is there's very, very few podcasts that is the main thing that the hosts do. A lot of the time for the podcasts that really resonate with people, it's one of the complementary things that they do, or they had some sort of audience beforehand. And so I think that, especially with us providing really good conversations and I think quality episodes, it'll be something that as we continue to provide complementary things to the podcast, that the podcast is going to continue to grow, both in quality and in other ways. So it'll be good. I think as we land the plane, we can, just go through and do one last time reminiscing on these episodes and just share any thoughts that come to mind. So,
You want to do one word for each episode?
we can limit it to like 4 words, something like that. Like, if you need to say a phrase, you can. But then at this time, we'll also give a shout
That's
out
what Colin
to Alex.
Cowherd does.
Yeah.
He recaps the weekend with 3 words.
Bro, yeah. If you want to do 3 words, that would be tough, but we can see. So, first guest of the year, our boy Alex Lee, El Chino. I'll definitely give with that one, teaching me fashion. Because I don't know nothing about fashion.
Yep. Oh, for me, the word for that one, let's go with surprising.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. If you want to pull up your phone too, you can.
Yeah.
Look at the notes in the description. Our boy Street Hymns.
What episode was that?
53. I'll say here, this boy. First time I had an at-length conversation with him.
You had a what?
The first time podcast was the first time I had an at-length conversation with him. Mm-hmm. Wise and consistent.
Deep.
Bro.
Very deep.
Yes. 54. Ooh. Our boy Wild from the UK. Granted, we had in year 1. Okay, I guess we can share this. In year 1, we had 40-something total countries stream us. Mm-hmm. This year it was around like 65 total stream us. And so, but we went international for the first time with our first international guest.
Yeah.
Doing that over while he's over in the UK. Any thoughts for that for you?
For Wild, calm. He was very calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I think, value in uncertainty with him being able to create something of value during COVID. Getting to your friend,
LB.
Leah Beth, LB.
LB. Oof. Take over New York.
Hey,
that's my phrase. Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Thinking about, I'll say that start of creativity. Yeah. I think we had a little bit of it with with Wild and Street Hymns, but I think this is where we really first dove into different elements of creativity, a little bit with dancing and stuff like that. Oh, 56, our boy Mo. I'll say it before you steal it. Emotional.
I'm also trying to think of a big word.
Man.
This is probably one of the highest compliments I could give. Virtuoso, that's my word.
Bro,
he was amazing. Masterpiece. Yeah.
57, our friend Chi Chi. Mm-hmm. You can go.
Wait, I thought... Okay. I think I had got that mixed up. I think you said his name earlier. For this is what I meant by I say surprising for this.
Okay.
Yeah, because of...
Yeah, you said that for Alex.
I thought you said his. I'll have to give another one for Alex. But his was surprising.
Yeah. I'll definitely say confirming of previous thoughts. I'll say that. There was a lot of encouragement in that. You want to give Alex?
Yeah, for brother Alex. Different perspective. Because we hadn't had that conversation yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Going from there, our boy Neb.
Ooh.
Leader.
Delegation. Leader.
There were some things he taught me about delegation during that conversation that I needed. Our boy PB, Pat Bradley.
Hope.
Mm-hmm. Success. Proper success. Our boy Chaz Smith.
Didn't see that coming.
Yo, that's a good one. Bro. Man. Grateful and genuine. Grateful that friendship has turned into a great friendship, and that boy just genuine. Your boy.
Tyrone.
Dude.
World changer.
Bro. Yes. Leader, not just influencer. That's an encouragement directly to him. Our boy Playa.
And Yvonne, right? So two of them.
And Yvonne, yeah.
Coleslaw.
I thought about that, but I was like,
Coleslaw.
I don't know. Bro, diverse. Because I often think diversity can only be thought of in terms of race rather than ethnicity. And y'all demonstrated that greatly on that podcast. Hana. Hana Leka.
Portrait.
Bro. Yes. Man. Honoring heritage. I'll say that. And then
The man himself.
Jeremiah. Might have to use fashion for this one
I
again.
was gonna say, that was gonna be my word. That man came with some heat, and he blessed me as well. So shout out to Jeremiah. I saw him at the Mav concert.
I'll add this one as well. Inspiration over competition.
The person with the hardest last name to pronounce.
Alessia Oshiopekai.
Is that how you say it?
I think I got it.
Duality.
Nuance.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that as well. Like, she handles nuance very, very well. My boy Joel.
Surprisingly funny.
Bro.
Yeah.
That's what him, and Ronaldo would get along very well.
Yeah, that one was surprisingly funny.
Bro, I'll just say throwback. Because that was, yeah, man. That was the first time where I felt like I threw it back to high school for a little bit. So it was special. Derek.
This was a throwback for me.
Derek
If you
Winkley,
listen to that, you know why. Yeah, it's throwback.
True. I don't want to say boundaries, but like opportunities and boundaries. I'll use those. And then from there, our boy Richard Kelly.
I'm trying to think of a word that describes, like, I'll say a step of faith.
Yeah. Bro, that boy threw it out there.
He did.
Man, taking care of responsibilities. Yeah. And then our boys over at Common
brothers.
Rags, Mario and Vicente. You know, for this one, I'll say surprising. And amazing humility.
Uncommon leaders.
Bro, yes. Our boy Yvonne.
A bear.
I'll say new starts. New amazing starts. Shagun. Bro. Like assimilation and friendships. Yeah.
Thoughtful.
Yeah, bro. Axel. Our friends Angela, Jordan, Jalen, Bosa. Deep.
Unity. Unified, yeah.
Kyle Negrete, our boy, living down in Austin, doing amazing things down there. This was a crazy one. Looking back on it.
My word is, I was taking notes. That was 4, right? I was taking
Bro,
notes.
that
Yeah, it was 4.
works.
Yeah, I was taking notes.
Celebration and encouragement. Man, dude. Kennedy. Our boy Kennedy.
Bold.
Yo, tough. Tough. And not just physically tough, but spiritually, emotionally tough. Edward.
Mr. Tercios. Edward. Oof. Canceled. Yeah.
Comfortability despite feeling like an outsider. I'll say that. Your little brother.
Goofy.
Ronaldo. Rare opportunities. And then our friend Raul.
I'm sure he'll want me to say this word, so I'm gonna say seasons and boundaries.
And I'll say I feel like.
Yeah.
Throw that on there.
Yeah.
Outside of that, no, world changer. Our man Philip. Rare.
I was gonna say traveler because he's just
rare, genuine, and committed to the Lord. Our boy Paul. Engaged.
engaging. Yeah.
And then Vance, bro. Purpose in young adulthood.
Fruitful.
Bro, that analogy was fire.
Yeah.
He used Foggy.
Raw. Literally.
I'll just say this. Kellerman.
Yep.
One day. Our friend one day. Yo,
One day.
structure. Yes. Structure and vision.
People person.
Tadashi. Our older brother, basically our Uncle Tadashi. Uncle Tadashi.
What did he want us to do?
Your tour idea?
Yeah, but he was it business focused?
Yeah.
Big entrepreneurs. Yes.
Yeah, bro.
Yes.
Butter sticks.
Yeah. Business opportunities.
Butter sticks.
Yeah.
Meekness. And just grateful for his continued friendship. So, yeah, those are the guests.
Yeah.
Those are the words. Obviously, there's ones that we did in between, but we don't want to give those away. We'll let y'all go listen to those. All right, man. We be going for a little bit. Any last closing things as we land the plane?
No, I mean it was good. Kind of looking back into all those various episodes that we're able to do. Lots of great conversations. If you weren't able to check out some of the ones that we mentioned, you're kind of curious as to why we used some of those words that we did. Hopefully, as you're listening, to the podcast, you'll be able to hear, and come up with your own words as well, kind of take away. So that was it for me,
Yeah, dope, man. And I just grateful for you, bro. I'm just grateful for your consistency and everything, man. Grateful. I was gonna say this. Well, we talked about this a little bit in Lonnie, but just in Lonnie's episode, but just your balance. I think we balance each other out very well in terms of co-hosts, which is great. And yeah, bro. Like I don't think. Yeah, bro. You just such an integral part to everything, man. Just grateful for you, even whenever I'm joking around with you. Great.
Joke was good.
Grateful for you, bro.
Yeah.
And even though you're an August baby,
Best month of the year.
I still appreciate you, bro. Yeah. Looking forward to another good year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so be good. Yeah, y'all. That'll be a wrap for us today. Thank y'all for tuning in. All the information for us and perspectives will be in the description below if you want to support the podcast, outreaches, hopefully trips coming up, and this project as well. Yeah. There's no one to really thank for coming on this time around. Also, I'll say thank y'all for tuning in.
Yeah.
Y'all been great.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
For what the kids say, rocking with us. For that's the best word I could think of, for rocking with us. We would love to meet in person. That might not be possible for everybody, but you guys have shown us a lot of support, and the reason why we continue just to hopefully be faithful in what we're doing. So we appreciate you guys, for 2 years and hopefully even more. So
yeah, so it'll be good. But good things are going to continue to come. So until next time, much love. God bless.